Hello, students. Welcome back to your economics class. I am Mrs. Jenny Shah, and we were doing the chapter Poverty as a Challenge. Okay. Last class, we learned about PMRY, that was Prime Minister Rozgar Yojana, and we also learned about REGP, that is Rural Employment Generation Program. Today we will learn about two different programs launched by the government to fight poverty in India. The first one is Swarna Jayanti Gram Sarvogskar Yojana. This was launched in 1999. Okay. The program aims at bringing the assisted poor families above the poverty line by organizing them into self-help groups. And they are going to do this through a mix of bank credit and government subsidy. Okay, so under this program, assistance is given to poor families who live below the poverty line in the rural areas, and they have been given assistance so that they can take up self-employment, and the people taking the self-employment are called swarozgaris. They may take up the activity either individually or in a group, and then they are called as a self-help group. Okay, so it aims at providing self-employment to villagers through the establishment of self-help groups. Activity clusters are established based on the aptitude and skill of the people, which are nurtured to their maximum potential. Funds are provided by the NGOs, banks, and financial institutions. Another undertaking by the government is the Pradhan Mantri Gramodayan Yojana. This was launched in the year 2000. Additional central assistance is given through this to the states for basic services like primary health, primary education, rural shelter, rural drinking water, and rural electrification. It was launched in 2000 to 2001 in all states and union territories to achieve the objective of sustainable human development at the village level. PMGY initially had 5 components, that is primary health, primary education, rural shelter, rural drinking water, and nutrition. Another important scheme is Antyodhana Anna Yojana. It is an Indian government sponsored scheme for 10 million of the poorest families. It is on the lookout for the poorest of poor by providing them 35 kgs of rice and wheat at rupees 3 and rupees 2 kgs respectively. Such programs, they give mixed results, and the major reason for the less effectiveness is the lack of proper implementation and right targeting. There has been so much of overlapping of schemes that despite good intentions, the benefit of these schemes are not fully reached, especially deserving poor. Therefore, the major emphasis in recent years is on proper monitoring of all the poverty alleviation programs. So now we have so many programs, but apparently our poor are still not benefiting from it. And so in the recent years, the main focus of government has been monitoring and implementing these programs in a more correct manner. Poverty is declining in India, but despite the progress, poverty reduction remains India's most compelling challenges. Widespread disparities in poverty are visible between the rural and the urban areas and also amongst the different states. Certain social and economic groups are more vulnerable to poverty. Poverty reduction is expected to make better progress in the next 10 to 15 years. And this will be possible mainly because of higher economic growth. So the challenges, they are still remaining. Providing healthcare, education, job security, achieving gender equality, getting dignity to the poor, but this will become even bigger tasks. So we are expected to reduce poverty in the next 15 years because of higher economic growth, increasing stress on universal free elementary education, declining population growth, increasing empowerment of women, and economically weaker classes of the society. So, despite the progress that we are making, reducing poverty is still the most compelling challenges of India. You can see wide disparities in the poverty between the rural and the urban areas, especially between different states. Some social and economic groups are more vulnerable to poverty. The official definition of poverty captures very limited part of what poverty really means to the people. It is about a minimum subsistence level of living rather than a reasonable level of living. Many scholars advocate that we must broaden the concept into human poverty. A large number of people may have been able to feed themselves, but do they have the education or shelter or healthcare? Just feeding them is enough? Are they free from the caste and gender discrimination? Do they have self confidence? What about the practice of child labor? Worldwide experience shows that with development, the definition of poverty will also change. Eradication of poverty is a moving target, and we will be able to provide the minimum necessary in terms of only income to all. But the target will move on, and we shall have bigger challenges like providing healthcare, education, job, security, achieving gender equality, dignity of poor. These will be the bigger challenges. Okay, so the definition of poverty will change as and when we keep developing. We may be able to give them minimum income, but poverty is not only about income. So children, with this we have come to the end of this chapter. Please pay attention to the anti-poverty measures taken up by the government, their dates, their aims. These are very important. Okay, with this children, I'm going to end today's class. Please solve the question and answers at the back of the chapter. Mark them in your notebooks. We will discuss them in the next chapter. With this children, I end today's class. Stay home, stay safe, take care, keep learning. Thank you.